Hello again and welcome back to Southeast Texas Weekly. I'm Kevin Steele. Great having you with us. Today we are joined by three astute gentlemen who know their politics inside and out and have very strong opinions thereof. State Representative Mike Hamilton joining us today from Mauriceville, Republican. Great to see you, sir.
Great to be here.
We have not been graced by your presence for some time.
Yeah, it's been a couple of months.
We'll have to have you back more often. Kent Walston here with Branik Walston and Devencio, of course.
Right.
Good to see you, sir.
Good to be here.
And Brent Weaver, the Precinct 2 Jefferson County Commissioner. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
It's an important time to talk about a national movement, gentlemen. There's a movement within our country. We're beginning to see kind of a momentum building. It started in Wall Street. It's been through a great many cities now. What is the ultimate meaning, we start here, of this Occupy Wall Street protest, a movement we're seeing nationwide?
Well, I think the unemployment rate, the state of the economy is indicative of people's frustration, you know, and they're voicing that frustration in these bigger cities, and they're blaming Wall Street and capitalism for their demise in society. Certainly it's not Wall Street's fault, certainly not capitalism's fault. These people have jobs. I mean, they got to have some source of substance. They have to have a job somewhere. I mean, I can't take off 3 weeks and occupy Wall Street. So I'm not sure exactly what it's, you know, what it's going to come to. I know that I don't believe it's capitalism's fault. There's a lot of socialist signs and things of that nature that are out there, but people are exercising their frustration.
You know, we're beginning to hear that a Coast Guard member has been spat upon by one of the Occupy Wall Street protesters. We're beginning to hear that the park has been, well, that the mayor of New York wants to clear the park, and there's some controversy, you know, thereof. I mean, what do we begin to think about where this is going to end?
You know, from what I've seen on TV, there doesn't appear to be many out there that can articulate what they're there for or what they're hoping to gain.
What their specific goals
any particular legislation, it's more of a belief and a movement of emotion. And I think echoing what Kent said, basically, you know, about the frustrations of the struggling economy and unemployment.
Kent, the Tea Party's been talking about this kind of thing for a long time. Let's get out there, voice our opinions, and affect change. But how do you affect change, gentlemen, when we don't have a specific goal in mind?
Well, you know, those are, like they said, you know, before, and unfortunately, I think whenever you get into one of these positions where people start off with maybe a good intention, all of a sudden it starts building and building. Other people start joining in and don't even know what's going on and want to cause trouble and start. And that's what moves them away from the whole idea of it. Same kind of way with the Tea Party. You know, the Tea Party was set on 3 founding factors. Now they're kind of broadening out more, and people want to broaden them out, and it's a little different. So, you know, as we get these groups, as long as they become famous and they start getting more movement and get more press and stuff, other people want to start joining in and putting their own little flair to it.
Yeah,
It gets expanded.
But I've noticed that, you know, in the Tea Party groups, there's certainly in their demonstration, there's been some arrests, there's been some people that are non-compliant, but there's sure has been a lot of non-compliance in these groups in New York. There's been 700-800 arrests.
But when you look at the group as a whole, you know, there's some bits and pieces out there, obviously, that are unemployed. But you know, some of the news reports I've seen on TV, some of these individuals were not employed, or maybe have not been employed. So, you know, it's a lot of emotion.
I know you feel strongly with town hall meetings and that type thing from the grassroots on up that you want the voice of democracy. You want people to come forward.
But you want it in orderly fashion.
Yeah,
certainly.
Yeah.
And you know, me being a veteran, you know, I definitely take insult and offense to anybody who would spit upon one of our armed forces.
Right, right. Does this end, guys, in a Kent State-like incident, a shooting, tear gas?
I don't think we're there.
Chicago Democratic National Convention.
They'll wear themselves out and run out of money, and they'll go home.
No, I don't think so. I think, you know, your people, like, you know, your organizations over here that are good, that are going and constant and keep going, they're going to be surviving. These other movements that jump in, like this have really no purpose to it. They don't have a goal. They don't have any realistic goals. They don't have anybody that they're talking to. You know, just Wall Street in general is not.
But I hear
there's nobody there to guide them.
Democrats are kind of jumping on board and endorsing them and saying they're good people. But I'd run from that as far as I could. If I was being a Democrat, I'd stay away from endorsing what they're doing.
At the end of the day, a lot of what they are talking about, although, again, it's been wide-ranging in their grievances, has been, in fact, the unemployment condition of the nation, well over 9% now. Has the president's jobs bill, in getting more or less slaughtered in Congress, I mean, was it really that bad? I mean, that maybe would have been a measure that might have quelled some concerns of some of those Occupy Wall Street protesters. Was the bill really that bad, the jobs bill?
You know, I think we have to take some type of action to move America forward in terms of job growth and in our economy, but we have to balance that objective with decreasing our spending and getting our deficit in control. When you're spending more money than you're taking in, then you're going to get in a hole, just like in my own household. You have to balance that out, and you know, there's going to need to be some bipartisanship involved in this, where we can get both parties to agree upon some legislation that's going to move forward. And it may be that they got to break up parts of this bill to do that.
Republicans said for a long time, look, there's nothing out there on the part of the president. There's no plan to bring this unemployment rate back down. Don't we need some kind of measure? And does it in fact look as if the Republicans were not working with the president and getting some kind of a jobs bill through?
Well, I think that whole jobs bill was just, nobody really liked it. And I don't think there was a lot of Democrats and Republicans that didn't like it. And so I think the best thing to do now is, if you think it's a good job and you think there's part of it, is to break up the good parts. There are couple of good parts. The payroll tax for small businesses, to ease on that is a great part for incentives right there. There's a couple other things that are in there that are really good. You know, taxing the people that have the money to build new businesses and to start new business and stuff is not the answer. To lower your capital gains tax, I mean, raise your capital gains tax and stuff, that's not the answer to that problem right there.
Mr. Walston, it almost appeared that the president had not talked with members of his own party. In just a moment before we go to break here, had talked with the members of his own party to develop a consensus to get this bill passed. What's wrong with the machinery at the White House at this point?
Well, it's broken. There's no doubt about it. It is. I mean, his members of his own party, you know, torched this legislation. You know, he saw Harry Reid tried to delay the vote because he knew it was coming. He knew he didn't have the votes. This is an election year for many of those Democrats, and they saw what happened to the Democrats last time when they voted for all this legislation that cost the country a lot of money and put us in debt, and they don't want to put themselves in that position again.
I understand. Did Governor Rick Perry implode his entire candidacy with his references to the economic plan that he had not yet fully developed? The full story on that and more when Southeast Texas Weekly continues.